Are you looking for a beer that's light, refreshing, and easy to drink? I've got just the style for you. It's called a Berliner Weiss, and it's actually a sour beer that has its origins dating back to the 1600s in Germany.
But I don't like sour beers.
I know, the words sour and beer might seem like an odd combination, but in reality, most beer drank before the 20th century probably had a little bit of sourness naturally, because sanitation wasn't as good back in the day, and it wasn't uncommon for wild yeast and bacteria to get into most beer. But with this beer, you actually want a little bit of sour, but not too sour. The best word to use to describe this beer would be tart, more like sparkling lemonade. And when done right, it blends a perfect amount of sourness with a nice bready note, making it light, refreshing, and easy to drink. And it might just be the thing you need to give you a break from the big, heavy, dark beers of winter. You know what, brew day on a Berliner Weiss is not that bad either, especially if you're gonna kettle sour it, because you're actually splitting up the brew day over 2 days. In order to get the tartness that we're looking for, we actually need to infect this beer. You want me to infect my beer? I know. We're told as homebrewers that the last thing we want to do is infect our beer. But in this case, that's actually what we want to do because that's what makes the beer sour. So I'm going to be using a technique called kettle souring. To put it simple, we take bacteria from a trusted source, in this case, Good Belly probiotics, and we dump it into our wort and let it work for about 24 to 48 hours. The result should be a nice refreshing tartness that tastes more like juice, like lemonade, rather than like a candy sour like Warhead sour. Simple grist today. It's a 50-50 split between Pilsner and white wheat malt. Gonna mash this one at 149 degrees for about 45 minutes. Okay, next step on the Berliner Weiss, bring it up to a boil and boil for just 15 minutes. Okay, my boil is done back there. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the heat, and then I'm gonna start the process of cooling it down to right around 100 degrees. I do need to take a pH reading right now. I would like to pre-acidify this down to 4.5. All right, looked like the pH was in the 5.3 range. I'd like to get it down to 4.5, so I'm gonna start adding lactic acid a couple milliliters at a time and just resample that, stir it in, resample it, and see what I can get it to. Looks like 4.39. A little bit lower than I wanted, but that should work fine. Now it's time to put in our Good Belly probiotic. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the whole thing. Now there is a little hole on the back here. I'm gonna wrap this whole thing up with saran wrap just to make sure that there's no other bugs that get in there other than the Good Belly that I have in there right now. I kind of feel like that's a little bit of overkill. I feel like this has got a pretty airtight seal on that with those clamps down. All I really needed to cover up was that hole there, but I'm just gonna err on the side of caution and wrap the whole thing. Good morning. Yep, it's morning. It's 8:25. Has not quite been 24 hours, maybe more like 22 and a half hours, but close enough. Let's take a pH reading on this thing and see how we're doing. Eric Hill EPH 01 pH meter. They did reach out to me. They sent me this for free. Video is not really sponsored by them, although I did take this for free. And I'll give you guys my honest review. The Berliner Weiss was the second beer that I used it in. I have used it a few other times since then, and I am very impressed with it. My old pH meter was hard to calibrate, and it wasn't that reliable. This one, super easy to calibrate, which makes me feel comfortable that I'm getting an accurate reading. Eric Hill was kind enough to also offer a discount for viewers. If you're in need of a pH meter, this is a very solid pH meter. Normal price on it is $60 on Amazon. Right now, through the end of January, they are offering 10% off for viewers of this channel, as well as a $12 coupon. I will have links to everything that you need down in the description. If you're in need of a pH meter, go check them out. I've used it for about 5 brews now. It's super easy to use. Yeah, I have had zero issues with it. Let's get back to the video. Good thing I checked. 3.36. That's plenty sour. So time to move on to the second part, or brew day number 2, which is bring this to a boil. I am adding a ridiculously small amount of hops to this tiny hop addition. Definitely helps to stir while you're chilling it down. I will be fermenting this with Imperial Yeast's A07 flagship. And I'm just going to be fermenting it in the garage. I brought the wort down to around 70 degrees. I'm just going to sit it in my garage. Right now my garage is holding at 66 degrees. It's probably going to drop a little bit tonight, but I think once fermentation starts, it should just keep some of the natural warmth in there. So I should be okay. Like I always say, there's only one way to find out, and that's pitch yeast, ferment beer, carbonate, and taste. So light, so refreshing, and so easy to drink. If you like this video, you should go check out this one right here. It's where I use my wife's heating pad to keep my kettle warm and make another Berliner Weiss. Cheers.